Did you know that some US states possess economies so formidable that, if they were independent nations, they'd rival the economic powerhouses of the world? Take California, for instance. The Golden State boasts an economy so colossal that it outpaces the United Kingdom's GDP. With a staggering GDP of $2.747 trillion, California ranks 5th globally, trailing only Germany, Japan, China, and the entire United States itself. With this known fact, it's no surprise that the United States, composed of 50 economically diverse states, has ascended to its current status as the world's largest economy. But how did the US get to the top of the chart? Let's find out. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Now, back when the American colonies were just starting to sprout as the economic giants they would become, between 1700 and 1774, something remarkable happened. The colony's economic output didn't just grow, it exploded, increasing a jaw-dropping 12-fold. But what fueled this economic rocket? Surprisingly, it wasn't revolutionary inventions or groundbreaking productivity. It was something more basic yet powerful: people. Population growth was the driving force behind over 3/4 of the colony's economic surge. The free white population here enjoyed a standard of living that was the envy of the world. However, the colonial economy didn't operate in a vacuum. It was tightly woven into Britain's mercantilist system, fueled by the fervor for independence. Americans in the 13 colonies found themselves at odds with Britain. The root of this discord lay in their demand to choose their own representatives and exercise fiscal authority, which Britain staunchly resisted. In defiance of British policies, Americans initiated boycotts of British goods, but these actions were met with the harsh Intolerable Acts of 1774. The tension fully erupted into the American Revolution, a war for independence that stretched from 1775 to 1783. Despite Britain's attempts to strangle the American economy through a blockade of ports, the US economy proved to be remarkably resilient. With a population primarily engaged in farming and only a fraction living in cities, the young nation's agricultural strength sustained it through the grueling years of war. The economy was further developed by the issuance of paper money, but this came with its own set of problems, including skyrocketing inflation. However, all these had set a foundation for the Industrial Revolution that would come later. In the late 18th century, while Western Europe was diving headfirst into the Industrial Revolution, the United States was taking a different path. Back then, the US was mainly an agrarian society focused on farming and resource processing. We're talking about grist mills, sawmills, and the like. But things started to change. Why? Well, it was all about supply and demand. As the demand for American resources grew, it needed a better way to move goods across the vast American frontier. That's where canals and railroads came into play. These transportation innovations were essential for the nation's growth, and they kickstarted an industrial revolution right here on American soil. As the US shifted from an outwork labor system to factory-based labor, there was a significant rise of state-chartered banks and initiatives like the American System. And then came the Wall Street. Back in the early 1700s, Wall Street had a dark history as the center of New York City's slave trade. As the late 1700s approached, Philadelphia was like the money capital of the young United States, but New York City's traders wanted in on the action while keeping the government and competition at bay. Something that still sounds familiar to people who love free market capitalism. The big change happened in 1792 when something called the Buttonwood Agreement. It was named after a tree where New York's traders met. 24 stockbrokers signed it, and it laid the groundwork for how trading works today. They agreed to only trade amongst themselves and charge a small fee. This was the start of the New York Stock Exchange and Exchange Board, and marked the move away from the less controlled auctions in Philadelphia. Over the next 100 years, Wall Street and New York City changed a lot together. As New York became a bigger part of the American economy, businesses and traders went to Wall Street instead of Philadelphia, but the 1900s brought new challenges, especially because of the two world wars. In the summer of 1914, when a big war started in Europe, American businesses faced a big problem. The New York Stock Exchange did something unusual. It closed for 3 months because people were afraid the financial system might collapse. At first, America didn't pick sides in the war. Instead, it made a lot of goods and sold them to other countries. American products like cotton, wheat, machinery, and more were in high demand, and this helped the American economy a lot. But in 1917, America joined the war, the government got busy making sure we had enough supplies for the war, American factories worked hard to make rifles, bullets, and gunpowder. This created lots of new jobs and fewer people were out of work. Skip ahead to World War II and the same thing happened. The war created tons of jobs and made us even better at producing goods. It turned America into a super strong country, not just in the military, but in the economy too. After World War II, the US economy faced a lot of uncertainty. During the war, factories were making war supplies and lots of people had jobs, so there wasn't much unemployment. But when the war ended, the big question was how to switch back to making everyday products without causing problems like too many people without jobs and prices going up. During the war, Americans were told to save their money for when things got better, so by 1945, people were saving about 21 cents out of every dollar they had. When the war ended, everyone was ready to spend that saved up money. People rushed to buy houses, cars, and things for their homes. The car business, for example, went crazy and they sold 4 times as many cars from 1945 to 1955. Companies that built houses took advantage of some special loans and benefits for soldiers, so they built houses really fast. Some companies like Levitt & Son used ways to build whole neighborhoods quickly, and all those new homeowners needed appliances like refrigerators and stoves, so companies that made those things made a lot of money. After the war, the US economy got super strong. The country became the richest and most powerful in the world. And this set things up for even more good times, like the rise of Silicon Valley. The Silicon Valley started with the fertile research grounds of local universities. These institutions became the breeding grounds for groundbreaking ideas, but ideas alone weren't enough. They needed support. That's where ample venture capital entered the picture, providing the financial fuel needed to turn ideas into reality. Government regulations played a favorable role too, and the US Department of Defense, especially during and after World War II, kept the funds flowing. Stanford University was pivotal in this journey. It not only nurtured a culture of innovation, but actively encouraged its faculty and graduates to venture into the tech world. The creation of Stanford Industrial Park in 1951 was a game changer, leasing land to high-tech firms, which in turn birthed giants like Hewlett-Packard, Varian Associates, and General Electric. In 1980, Apple's successful IPO unleashed a tidal wave of venture capital, cementing Silicon Valley's status as a global tech powerhouse. Now, the United States, often referred to as the land of opportunity, has undeniably solidified its position as a global financial superpower. It plays a central role in global trade, with total trade amounting to $4.2 trillion in 2018. The New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, among others, also anchor the global financial market with significant market capitalization and trade volume. In 2022, the US accounted for 25.4% of the global economy in nominal terms and approximately 15.6% in PPP terms. Today, the United States remains the epicenter of global finance, with unmatched assets under management exceeding $30 trillion, and a growing technology sector. However, with the Chinese economy coming closely behind, it is yet to be seen whether the US would maintain its position as the highest global financial power. That would certainly be something, wouldn't it? Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, be sure to do that now, and we promise to bring you more interesting content like this in the next episode. Till next time, bye!